Jacob Burton here from StellaCulinary.com, and in this video, I'm going to show you how to make ginger glazed carrots with turmeric and thyme. Now, while this is a delicious recipe that I encourage you to make, I want you to focus less on the recipe aspects of this video and more on the technique being demonstrated, because this covered, sauteed, and glazing technique is pretty universal for any vegetable out there, especially root vegetables and even some fruits. Now, because we're using this technique to glaze carrots, I'm going to peel and mince some ginger, because ginger and carrots just go great together. And then we have our friend the shallot, which goes great with pretty much anything. Just cut the shallot in half. I'm going to give it a quick little slice. Now, if you're rusty on your knife skills or just uncomfortable with them in general, I'll put a link to our knife skills series in the show notes. It's going to show you how to mince the ginger and hold the knife properly. Now, I'm going to take the peeled carrot, cut it on the bias just because it gives it a little bit more surface area, a little more visual appeal. And now I have a cold saute pan. That's important, cold saute pan. I'm going to cover the bottom of the saute pan with white wine. Now, you can use water if you don't want to use wine, but white wine adds some nice acidity and complex flavors. I'm going to place the minced ginger and the sliced shallots on the bottom of the pan with a couple large knobs of butter. And then I'm going to place the carrots into the pan. Now, the amount that I'm showing here, basically 2 carrots and some ginger and some shallots, is going to make about 4 servings. I'm going to season this whole mixture with some salt, a little pinch of sugar, and then some freshly cracked black pepper. Now, I'm going to cover with a lid and place this on medium heat for about 10 to 15 minutes. And bringing this up slowly is going to allow all the flavors to kind of release into the pan and get to know one another. And it's going to slowly cook the carrots. And that gentle heat is going to make sure that I'm getting an even texture all the way through the vegetable that I'm glazing. So you want to bring up the temperature slowly. Now, when you start to smell the aroma of the carrots over medium heat, you know they're starting to release their juices into the pan. And at this point, it's time to crank up the flame. Now, when you see some steam start to shoot out the edge of the pan, you know you got some serious business going on underneath there, so you want to go ahead and pull the lid off and give it a little shake. Now, you can see that a lot of moisture has already evaporated here, and at this point, honestly, too much moisture has evaporated. So I want to add back in a little bit of water, because although the glaze is starting to form, I haven't drawn out enough of the carrot juice yet, and enough sugars from the carrot to fully realize that flavor. And the carrots are still going to be crunchy on the inside, so I want a nice, even texture. So I'm going to give it another quick toss around, take a carrot out, give it a taste test, check to see where I'm at with my texture, and that's going to give me an overall idea of how much longer I need to actually cook the carrots. Now, at this point, I'm going to place my lid back on top after I spread the carrots out into an even layer and enter the covered saute technique, where I'm going to actually just shake the pan back and forth while I'm holding the lid on top. I'm going to remove the lid again and check to see where my carrots are at as far as the glaze consistency. Now, you can see that glaze is starting to form, it's starting to bubble up. A lot of that thickness, a lot of that thick bubbles that you see are actually coming from the sugars that have released from the carrots. And a lot of root vegetables have sugars inherent in them. Now, I'm going to finish with a little bit of turmeric about halfway through the cooking process because it gives it a nice color, and turmeric, carrots, and ginger are just a absolute fabulous flavor combination. Place the lid back on top, give it a couple more shakes, and you're basically going to continue this process of adding a little bit of water to thin out your glaze when it gets too thick, covering with the lid, giving it a little bit of a shake until your carrots are done cooking. Now, once your carrots are done, meaning they've reached the texture that you're looking for, it's time to continue to reduce that glaze until it's almost dry and it evenly coats your carrots or whatever vegetable that you're doing. At this point, you're just going to simply spoon out into a serving dish. And then I like to garnish my carrots with some fresh thyme, especially if it's right from the garden, because you're going to have some flowers on there, which add an interesting floral element, but also just give you some nice visual appeal. Now, again, even though we use carrots to demonstrate this technique, we can use this for any number of root vegetables, including baby onions, radishes, parsnips, all of which are great. For more information, check out this episode's show notes at StellaCulinary.com/CT10.